Hello guys, it's Wagger Tires here, back with a bit of a patch analysis for you. I stressed the bit part because this is a somewhat lengthy description here of everything that changed, and I feel like a good 50 to maybe even 60 to, dude, I'd stress it if I said 70%, but at least a good 60% of this information is not information that you're likely subscribed to my channel to hear me talk about. And there's probably better resources out there for you if you are really curious about, like, say, for instance, the talent in Quill Spray AoE increased, I don't know, mechanics that they implemented for Bristleback. So, and he's just one example. Like, Brew got changed, Bane got changed, Alchemist got changed, Ancient Apparition got changed. And I don't really play those heroes enough, such that I think that I'd be qualified to really talk about them too much. With that said, you know, those changes happen, so just be aware of them. And now that I mentioned it, hopefully you aren't asking me in the comments, oh my god, Wired, what did you think about the minus 0.2 strength gain reduction that they applied to Abaddon? Anyways, without any further ado, here's my 7.05 patch analysis. We'll start with Brood, because I think that's a good way to just get most of the people that are curious about my thoughts on the Brood changes out of the way, so that way you can watch this part and then close the video. Basically, and I hate to say this with sort of like a convictuous fuck. I don't think this is a word. Okay. I hate to say this with a tone that implies conviction, but this is probably the only relevant change, and it's a very minor one. 2% increase at all levels for the slow on in-cap bite. It's good, obviously, right? That's a buff, straight up. There's no nerf, there's no downside. This isn't like scaling up or scaling down or anything like that. Like, this isn't like one of those changes that affects only her. Like, if this is just like a flat at every single level, you are going to be slowing people for 2% more, which is obviously great. Hopefully I don't need to sing that praise any more than I did, but it's minor. And I guess I should stress that, you know, 2% for what it is, it's also just 2%. So don't expect to get too many more kills because of this in lane or in the late game. Don't expect to like outright win a game because, oh my god, that enemy hero that you were slowing was slowed for an extra 3 or 4 movement speed, right? I don't know. In some weird... Fuck, dude. Post the replay where this change right here secures you a victory because you were able to get a pick off on a core, and I'll eat my words and donate like $25 to a children's hospital. These two changes, as I was just saying, this is like the only relevant change that I consider, because a level 15 talent increase of 25 health at level 15. This talent started off at like 200 or 250 or something like that. So it's kind of see how far it's come from then when they first reworked the talent change on Brood, from because there was like a 300 health bonus on her level 20 talent as an option. It was like 300 health or 50 attack speed, and then they moved it down to her level 15 talent, and they reduced the health because, you know, that's how the talents scale, is they scale up in power level as you go up in levels. So it didn't make much sense for a strong for the equivocal health talent to be on a lower level talent. And yet, lo and behold, here we are with an equivocal, actually not even equivocal, the 350 health is more than the original 300 that it was at for level 20. So it's interesting to see how far this talent has come, the health option. But, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, 20% cooldown reduction is just too good. I still think it's too good. I think I said this in my 7.01 or 7.02 comprehensive guide to Broodmother, which I highly recommend you watch. It's got a lot of relevant points in it in case you're curious into getting into the hero, although you probably have already seen it if you're watching this. But I said it there and I'll say it again. This value would need to be no less than 400 for me to even consider getting it over the cooldown reduction. And that is for the reasons that I stated in that video. Cooldown reduction is survivability on Broodmother, similar to how attack speed is. Cooldown reduction is quicker access to webs in fights, and that's a very, very powerful tool to Broodmother. It's quicker access to her nuke, which is a very, very, it's not survivability, even though I just said cooldown reduction is survivability, but cooldown reduction is survivability in the sense that you could just turn that around to damage. Her nuke is a very powerful tool, and one of the ways in which she contributes to mid-game team fights, and this talent shaves, or not this talent, the other talent, the 20% cooldown reduction shaves 2 seconds off of that damage per second, effectively adding like 20% damage, if you will, to just specifically her nuke, which is very powerful in and of itself, right? It shaves like 6 or 8 seconds off of her ulti, which is powerful in and of itself because her ultimate is an insane amount of survivability as well as damage that she provides to her kit. Many times you'll be in a prolonged team fight and you'll get your ulti off twice in a fight as Broodmother. That's very, very powerful. And it brings the downtime to about like 50 to 60%, which is pretty damn good. Where like 60% of the time, 50 to 40%, where 50 to 60% of the time you will have your ultimate up, and you'll have like 40% of the time because it lasts for 14 seconds. At base, I think it has like a 40 or 45 second cooldown, and the 15% talent or 20%, it's 20% cooldown reduction talent reduces that by 20%. The math, I'll just look up these figures. It should, hopefully I'm wowing you because I know these numbers almost off the top of my head. I'm just kidding, I'm not trying to be conceited. All right, it's 45 seconds, sorry. But it gets brought down to 36 seconds and it lasts for 14 seconds right there. So we'll do the math because there's somebody out there that like unless they see these numbers, they'll just be mad at me. So I'll do it. 14 divided by 36. That should be the value. So it's got a 38%, I want to say, downtime, if that's what that is, in the sense that 36 fits into 14.38 times. So oh my god. Holy crap. I'm almost about to scrap this guide because I've just complicated it way, way harder than I should be. Just know that when you have that talent, you have access to the tools that keep you alive longer at a very, very hastened rate. And that's very powerful. So like I said, this would need to be like throw another 50 health on this and I'd start to consider it because at that point you're talking like Reaver levels of health. That's like 3,000 gold value. Not really 3,000 because Reaver is priced in terms of the budget of you. It's item slot efficient as well as it's not stat efficient. It's slot efficient. So Reaver, it's not like that talent. If you had a plus 400 health talent available at level 15 for Broodmother, that wouldn't be 3,000 gold, but that'd be worth a lot. That'd be worth a lot of money because, I mean, also the talent doesn't take up a slot, so that in and of itself holds value. But you're also talking about getting 400 HP at level 15 on a hero like Broodmother, who's already very, 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 very good at getting levels. As is, in the sense that she's one of the only offlaners that can actually contest the offlane at every single stage of the lane, even against a very aggressive tri-lane. Yeah, so this is a very, like, this talent, don't think that me shrugging off this change and the talent in general is me spitting on the talent in its face, calling it weak. I'm just saying that the 20% CDR is a very, very powerful talent. It's very hard to give up as a Broodmother. But this is becoming a good talent, and I'm like I said, 50 extra health, and I'd start to consider it. The 25 talent, this is just worthless. This isn't even a change. Act like this isn't even in the game. So we're working really mostly with these two changes. Broodmother players rejoice because this is a good change. Like, this is just objectively, like, straight up, you're going to be playing the hero at a stronger version because of this change. This talent, like I said, I am personally going to hold off and wait to see. Skeptical about it, but it could be becoming good. It's around right now where the patch analysis is going to take a little bit of a detour real quick. I just want to go to the boy DotaCap. I don't really follow this guy too much. I don't have a Twitter, by the way, so I'm not following him literally on Twitter. But like I'm not keeping up. I don't keep up with him or Blitz or Purge or any of those memers. I'd rather play Dota as opposed to watching it and watching casters, but no disrespect against him, but he mentioned a very good point. Brood's going to be one of those heroes that gets power creeped until a certain meta change makes it viable and quickly turns to OP. Couldn't agree more. If that happens, let it be known, not on this day, but on the first day that I recognize that Radiance Solar Crest Broodmother is very powerful, that I was the first on this bandwagon, god damn it, because I want some recognition for that. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even really come up with the style. I've taken a lot of inspiration from a lot of other players as well. I'm not trying to come here and claim to be some kind of hipster memer, but he had a very good post, and I just wanted to share that with you guys, just to maybe get the cogs turning a little bit, in case there's anybody that's watching this video right now that doesn't know that Broodmother's a powerful hero. Besides that change, I want to talk about the general changes, so I kind of want to jump back up here to the general changes. Sorry if I'm giving you vertigo, because I feel like there's a few things we can derive from these changes. Firstly, I want to talk about the tower's base armor reduced by 2, because there's some people, not even some, I'd say a good 70% of you people out there that watch me for Broodmother and her spirit content don't actually play the heroes the way that I play them. You just play the heroes and think like, oh, why are guitars is an Earth Spirit and Broodmother player, so I'll subscribe to him, but never watch his videos and never understand how he plays the heroes. So you guys like message me on Steam and say, yo, dude, that tower base armor reduction is so good for Brood, right? And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I team fight with Brood. And you're like, what? Dog, I thought you were building Necro 3. And I'm like, no, I've been building Radiant Solarcrest this whole time. What are you doing, dude? And then he's like, dog, what? Are we playing the same hero? And I'm like, yes, dude, that's how I play Broodmother. This change, as good as it is for Ratters, is not a change for Broodmother to consider. Okay, if you're still playing that rat style of Broodman, you gotta quit it. Okay, or at least don't tell people that when you're throwing your 3K games that you got that style from me. Okay, this change does not affect Broodmother. This change affects Lycan. Maybe I don't play. Fuck man, I don't play enough Lycan. Fuck. And then this change, if anything, this is a nerf to Brood, but it's just a nerf to team fighters. More and more team fighting, I guess. More and more, Valve is recognizing that their game is becoming Heroes of the Storm brawler 5v5 shoot 'em up for 20 minutes. Game that you play in between jack-off sessions, and they want to change that. So. Nice to see them doing this. I like the art. The art of ratting is something that I was initially very, very interested in Dota for, way back when I started in 2012, when I transitioned from StarCraft to Dota. And it's just that idea of like winning through other means, not just brute force. Objective-based gameplay is something that I've always been interested in. I like it through killing objectives through backdoor, especially. And you can call me a cancer player right now, but rest assured, okay, I don't play anti-mage or none of those stupid heroes. Okay, I played Lycan and Terrorblade. Okay, so give me some credit here, or don't. Those heroes are kind of cancer too. Nothing really too much to say. I kind of wanted to briefly talk about this change in tandem with the Hand of Midas changes. I guess I should, even though this is more disclaimer material, I just want to state now, I'm going over these changes with the assumption that you've kind of read over these changes yourself, or that you have you're watching this video probably on mobile or internet, which means you can just hit Control-T on your Google Chrome and type in Dota 2 7.05. That's literally all you have to do, and load these changes with me, because like I said, I might be giving you vertigo, but given how quickly I'm scrolling through them, and we're not going to be going every single one of them. We're just going over the most impactful ones that I think affect the heroes that you and likely myself and likely you play the most. So yeah, keep that in mind. But with that being said, I wanted to go over this change, and I want to go over the Hand of Midas change in tandem. So TLDR on this change, this is just and I think something like this was necessary. I definitely getting used to last patch was kind of difficult, or I think it might have been 2 patches ago, where they nerfed I think it actually was 7.04, where they originally introduced these set of changes that made EXP harder to come by in the early game, in the sense that it was just it's not harder to come by, but they made the requirements to hit levels from 1 to 6 15% higher. So it just meant that you had more time spent in these early levels, which especially burdened like roaming supports that couldn't find their levels as easily, because they'd be stuck at like level 2 when everybody else is like level 6, and they'd find it that much harder, 15% specifically harder to come back. That change kind of it hurt. I guess it hurt everybody technically. It's just a flat out overall nerf. But I think the heroes that, like I said, I think the heroes that benefit or got subtracted from, I suppose, negatively the most were heroes, like I mentioned, that were like roamers, or heroes that just found it hard to come by levels. And even though I think like a minute ago I talked about how Broodmother was one of the very few offlane heroes that can manage to find ways to soak EXP in the offlane, even against very, very, very strong tri lanes. That change in the patch definitely hurt Brood, similar to how it hurt every other hero. But I would make the argument that maybe it hurt her a little bit more than meets the eye, just because in the early game she is very level starved. Broodmother wants her in a typical lane that you're playing against, not Axe, not Legion, although even against those heroes you want quick level 6, but in a typical lane as Broodmother, where you're playing against 2 to 3 heroes and they're all kind of trying to work together to bring down the Broodmother, you want to get your webs and you want to get your nukes maxed as quickly as possible, because your nuke serves like 3 purposes in a lane like that. It serves as a nuke, it serves as a spider creation, like a spider creating tool, and then also serves as a last hitting mechanism when you don't have that many spiders. Her webs likewise serve multiple purposes that all work in tandem together, whereas later on throughout the game you might not care as much about the health regen on her webs. You care about that a lot in lane. The free pathing likewise, I mean, you always care about that throughout the entirety of the game, but especially in the early game. That's how you get around the lane and stuff like that. That's why you're so annoying to deal with. And surely I don't need to tell you about how the movement speed is also very beneficial. So it was kind of hard to take a 15% flat EXP nerf just across the board in those early levels. Like it just took you 15% more experience to get your levels, which were like incremental power spikes. Like literally every level was a big boost to your strength in that stage. Now obviously if you're dominating and snowballing, a change like that only helps you because it lets you suppress the enemies from getting their nukes high leveled as in, and therefore they have harder times spamming down your spiders. So one might argue that it could benefit her. I'm getting kind of off track here and on a tangent. What I'm really just trying to stress is that change hurt Broodmother. I think this particular change helps Broodmother. And the reason that I think that is because heroes, I call them capstone abilities. It's when your talent hits 25 and like every hero in the game, and literally every single hero, you can debate me on this all you want. Like, oh, Puck only had 300 GPM talent or strong illusory or fast illusory or whatever. Okay, every hero in the game has at least one good level 25 talent, right? Contest me on that all you want, but I guarantee it. Like, overall, the talent system, I'd say, has been integrated pretty well into Dota. Let's be real here, okay? So a lot of them are fun and interesting changes for every single hero. And every hero has a pretty good talent at level 25. This change specifically targets, in my opinion, heroes that have very powerful level 25s, and they want to get that sooner, right? So you compare like the relative strength of, say, plus 400, GPM Blaze It on Puck, or the illusory orb change on as the other option. Those are two very pretty powerful options on a hero like that, right? And they're meant to be because it's your level 25. It's your capstone. It's how you. It's like it gives your hero more flavor. For Broodmother, right? And I've talked about this before. You've got this really, really, really like incredible hero changing choice, which is +8 webs, and then the other choice is just like jack your dick or whatever. Like you're having fun, so you just want to get tanky spiders. But you have one option that's so incredible that it takes one of her base abilities and doubles how strong it is, right? I'm not talking like Forge Spirits, you get +1 Forge Spirits or whatever. I'm talking like you take one of her abilities and just say, hey, here's double the fun. And again, like I'm not talking like, add another dagger to PA dagger. I'm talking literally like this ability is now technically, like you could almost just call it two separate abilities because she gets double the webs. Double the webs is incredible for Broodmother. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You suddenly own half the map. An entire half of the map is yours to control. And that implies itself that I don't want to call it a change. I mean, it is a change. It's like I said, it's a capstone talent. Once you get it, suddenly you don't give a fuck about placing webs anymore. You just place webs anywhere. You don't care about the ones that'll break and screw up your team fight. I mean, you should still macro manage that sort of thing, but it becomes something that you're macro managing, and you don't have to worry about micromanaging as much. Suddenly you're incredibly good in prolonged chases, and it's kind of like your webs change from like stone remnants to fire remnants, if that makes sense. Where like fire remnants are something that Ember Spirit kind of moderately gauges throughout a fight, whereas Earth Spirit has to like micromanage the shit out of his stone remnants in a fight, otherwise he becomes literally useless. Ember Spirit has other pretty good base abilities that can be used even without his remnants. And so, like I mentioned, I don't know. I kind of went on a long tangent there to explain the differences between how last patch negatively affected Broodmother when she was trying to get her early game power spikes, and how a change like this helps heroes that have late game power spikes reach them quicker, and Broodmother is certainly one of them. This change, like I mentioned time and time again, this is 900 EXP off of you hitting your late game power spike, and that's a pretty powerful change to every hero, but especially to Broodmother. So I think this is a good change overall to Brood, and just any hero that you can think of that has a pretty powerful capstone ability. The Hand of Midas change. So the reason I just want to talk about this briefly is because I do actually, or I did, I guess I should say, go Hand of Midas, specifically in lanes where I felt like I was faring pretty well in, but I was against a counter, in quotation marks, where I was against like an Axe or a Legion, which is a hero that you typically don't want to level spiders against, and you want to try to get a kill at level 6 with Incapacitating Bite, and your ulti, and of course 3 points in web. And I would do that build, and obviously I wouldn't have access to spiders at very early ranks, so my farm would be hindered, I suppose. Usually you will get a kill, and you'll be able to completely zone out the Axe or the Legion at level 6. They'll never be able to enter the lane again unless they have like 2 or 3 heroes. Usually it's 2. 2 heroes will fend off a Broodmother going that build, but not even 1 hero. Like, Legion plus Wisp, I'll kill both of them in the 14 seconds it takes my Incapacitating Bite to rip them apart. Like, Excuse me. In those kinds of lanes, you would like get a kill or two, and then you try to snowball it from there, and then you'd get your spiders eventually at like level 10, and then you'd start to ramp up the farm and then take towers and then get your radiance and stuff like that. Sometimes I would go Hand of Midas in those situations because it's just a nice item that you could pick up to ramp up the farm, so to speak. That you make up the farm that you lost because you couldn't level spiders and dominate the lane that way and get a bunch of farm from side camps. This change makes me reconsider that option pretty significantly. It's hard to say the math outright, even though it's staring you right in the face. Like it's hard to. What I'm really trying to say is it's hard to for me to gauge off the top of my head because I don't know all the the creep experience loot tables. But 0.75 EXP. I guess the reduction of the EXP bonus by 0.75 is pretty significant. I liken this a lot to like the EXP bonus talents that they were handing out at a few batches ago when they were trying to make the plus EXP talents pretty good, or plus percentage EXP talents. This is kind of like counterintuitive to those talent changes. I actually kind of wonder if they made this nerf with those talents in mind, like knowing that they buffed those and maybe they buffed them a little bit too much. Like, oh my god, like Invoker, Invoker never took the EXP talents, but you catch my drift, right? Maybe heroes were just accelerating through those mid game levels too quickly. The Ice Frog found out that it was mostly just people that were getting Midases and maybe like combining them with the EXP talents. They were just like hitting these power spikes of levels way quicker than they should have been. And then he added this nerf in play. I don't care about the gold bonus. Brood. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again, especially in the early game, but all throughout the game, she's always level starved. Like she all of her talents are amazing. There's not a single brood talent that doesn't completely change the hero's strength in some way or another. Like at level 10, you get the choice between, accelerating your progress and levels that much quicker of 25%, or you get the amazing like plus 60 damage to your spawn spiderling nuke, which, as I mentioned, especially in tandem with her next choice, makes her an incredible team fighter in the mid game where she's spamming out her nuke and it's doing like 340 damage every single time it hits a hero. It's pretty crazy. She's got the 20% CDR talent, or now possibly the 350 health talent at level 15, which are both pretty good choices, especially that 20% CDR talent. Next level from that 20, she's got a 70 attack speed talent. That is so incredibly like overstated for that level. I think I'm trying to think of any hero that has even remotely that close or that much attack speed at that talent level, especially on a hero like Broodmother who craves attack speed. Attack speed is like, for Broodmother, attack speed, when you see an attack speed, like, this is why I'm also happy about this attribute bonus increase, even though it's a 1 attribute bonus on power treads. It's why I'm so happy about it, is because attack speed on Broodmother, when you're hitting on agility treads on Broodmother, it's so good because attack speed is damage, attack speed is health, attack speed is like survivability in every sense of the word. It's so much. Attack speed translates to so much on Broodmother that talent is amazing in and of itself. And then obviously level 25, we already talked about a lot. The webs are great. So just know that like this item was gotten. I picked this item up with the idea in mind that I wanted to accelerate my levels. And it just does less of that now. So I don't care about the 30 extra gold. I think I will be picking up Hand of Midas still, but less. I'll be thinking of the choice as to whether or not I'm going to be picking up a Midas a lot more carefully now. And I don't know. I might cut it out completely. We'll have to see. I'm just saying I'm skeptical about this change, and I don't really like it too much. Like I mentioned, the power treads changed pretty good. As a complete side note, I like the tranquil boots change, but that's irrelevant to the heroes that we're talking about. We talked about Brood's talents already, so I guess we can talk about a few other ones that I'm very psyched for. One of which is, if you could believe, oh shit, wait, what? No, what? I missed this before. The slow duration got hella nerfed from 1.4, 1.6 to 1. So from scaling up by 0.2 to scaling up by 0.4, it's not even a second at level 1. Holy crap, dude, I'm done playing Earth Spirit, man. I'm sorry, boys. Anyways, Jesus, what the heck, dude? This is too much. That's over half a second. Roaming Earth Spirit is no more, my friend. I don't know. They'll probably... Jarex is probably still going to find a way to make this hero broken, and Frog will probably keep nerfing him, whatever. Anyways, I'm kind of hyped for this change, this Enchantress change. It's incredibly minor, This is the bigger one in my opinion, the intelligence growth change. But I don't know. I like Enchantress's heal a lot. It's the combination of a static and also a nuke heal all at the same time. And I like this talent, and I like Enchantress, and I like playing Enchantress. So I'm hyped for these changes. As just a complete side note, I bet you didn't even know I played Enchantress. Lycan, this is a nice change, but you know, I don't really play the hero that much anymore. I do like the change though. You're strong when you have shape. Lycan is a hero. He's like worth 2 heroes when he has shapeshift active, and he's worth like 0.5 heroes when he doesn't. So it's nice that they're making his shapeshift a more relevant factor, even though it's incredibly relevant already. They're just making it that much more powerful. Monkey King nerfs I love to read. Oh crap, not much more to mention, I guess. Wyvern got cute little buffs there. Underlord, same thing. Gosh, when I was reading these, this was another one that I was really happy about, was the Juggernaut base movement speed reduction. I like that a lot. Evoker base strength reduced by 1 rip. Terrible hero, can't play. There's Chen changes, but they're so minor it's hard to mention them in good faith. I think that's it. Okay. I've gone on long enough, and I think that's all I have to say. Orb of Venom, really small change, or not small change, sorry. Really small quip about this, but this is a nice change. Some people are calling this a buff. I don't know how they're calling it a buff. They must be high. This is obviously a nerf. The damage, oh my god, the damage got increased by 3. The more relevant factor here is that it's going to be canceling your Blink Dagger for 1 less second in the mid game, and slowing the hero just in general for 1 less second unless you can keep on them. So that's a nice change. I like this change. I'm not trying to say Overvenom was OP or anything crazy like that, but you know, to some very small degree, you could consider it. It was just doing stuff that it shouldn't have done. Like you'd hit somebody once and then just walk away, and the impact of just hitting them was so large. Like 4 seconds that they couldn't earn themselves, they couldn't Blink Dagger. 4 extra seconds, right? So I like this change a bit, but you know, fairly. I'm not going to even say inconsequential because this was annoying as shit to play against as a Broodmother player because your free pathing got disabled for 1 extra second. So, yeah, okay, that's it. Probably a 20-minute video, so I do apologize for that. Put it on ×2 speed. I don't think I talked too quickly that you can probably understand me. Anyways, I love you all. I hope this was somewhat educational. Just kind of my thoughts on it. I'll do a longer video when they make more monumental changes to the game, as I usually do. I am streaming, albeit infrequently. I graduate from university in like a month, so you know, we'll revitalize the stream and whatnot when that comes to pass. As of now, we're just streaming infrequently and making videos in the same rate. So anyways, I love you all. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good night.